Hey, it is Valerie Roberts here with the BioAlign Lounge. Our goal is to inspire and uplift you into getting offline and getting into habits, behaviors, and beliefs that empower your life in so many ways: health, wellness, spirituality, emotional growth, mental health, community building, communication, and more. I break down the background behind a lot of things that we've accepted in modern culture and society and let you know where these concepts came from and how they're impacting your life so that you can make positive changes for the better. I'm a generalist. I synthesize information, I absorb it, I read it, and then I bring it back and regurgitate it in simple, everyday layman's terms without lots of details and so on. In the future, I may bring on some experts to talk about specific aspects of certain topics and give you the details. But as for me, I'm going to talk generally. I'm going to talk in a very plain vocabulary, and I'm probably going to make a lot of verbal blunders. So just forgive me in advance, please. I'm a mom of four. I've had many a broken heart, and I've learned to rebuild and reveal over and over again. I'm an eternal optimist and a believer that you can be or do or have anything that you want in this life as long as you are willing to learn the concepts of co-creation. The earlier, the better. I started way too late, and I'm here to give you the information that you need so that you don't have to wait so long to do that. So welcome to the BioAlign Lounge. This episode is a continuation of our last episode, which was episode 3. This is episode 4, and it's about the architecture of mass control: Hollywood, pop music, and your subconscious. Now, I first became aware of this about 10 to 15 years ago. There was a lot happening in the media, and a lot of little pieces were starting to get dropped. And I don't know, how many of you are already on the spiritual path, but you may remember that 2012 was a very pivotal time in the opening up of our spiritual minds. Of our spiritual minds. And in addition to that, again, later, about 5 years later in 2017, we had another resurgence of spiritual energy. So from 2012 through 2017, I was being pulled in, and I was really resistant because I was terrified, because I thought it was crazy. I thought these things cannot possibly be true. Well, here I am in 2026. After 14 years of analyzing, digging deep, doing my own reading and research and synthesis, I'm on board. And that's what I'm here to share today. So this is a continuation about the subconscious programming that I started talking about last week when I talked about childhood. And we're exploring the deep systemic structures of cultural and media manipulation. I'm going to trace the lineage just a little bit, generally, of psychological conditioning. And we'll talk about things like MK Ultra, modern Hollywood, music, frequency, culture, and childhood entertainment. Okay? So let's start with the MK Ultra legacy. Right now, we're seeing a lot about this in the media. A lot of MK Ultra topics are in the news, primarily because this is blowing up in DC, right? So you may be seeing people testifying about MK Ultra, about CIA and FBI and other government agencies that have basically weaponized psychology, psychiatry, and trauma and turned it into something that they can use to further manipulate our minds, our thoughts, our actions, our behaviors, and so on. So you probably remember learning about or hearing about the Manson murders, right? You probably remember hearing a lot about a variety of cults and cult leaders who would manipulate people's minds through drugs and through their just their charisma. They're just awesome. They were just special. And part of that is true. There are certain characteristics that lend people to be more susceptible to being drawn into the power of using these kinds of manipulative tactics. But 9 times out of 10, everyone involved in these operations are essentially victims. They're patsies. Because even the perpetrators, such as Charles Manson, and I'm not making excuses for him, they were manipulated. So back in the 60s, our government thought it'd be a great idea to access a lot of the scientists who were working on NASA and in other government entities, people who were involved in the Pentagon, other government agencies, these scientists, many of which we brought over from, Nazi Germany, which is a whole other topic about big fat lies we've been told, and the lie is not that people were murdered. People were murdered. There were genocides. Though that is all true. However, I thought I just muted this. The details around that are largely false. They're lies. They are simply, in some cases it's exaggeration, but really it's a twisting of the truth, right? So we're going to do these bad things to these people, but we're going to say that they're doing it to us, and so that we legitimize it and make it look like we're the good guys and they're the bad guys. So there's a lot of manipulation happening, right? This all goes back far deeper to the 1500s, and then especially the 1700s. This activity is birthed from Sabbatai and Sabbatianism, Jacob Frankism, the Rothschilds, the initiation of the banking systems. It's all woven together over time. But the power really manifested in a grasping chokehold of a way in the mid 20th centuries, around 1960, when the tools of media, music, culture, and psychology and psychiatry, government secret agencies, all got together in the mixing bowl. They all went into the mix together and formulated what would become mass hypnosis, mass manipulation, gaslighting, and basically just restructuring of societal and cultural beliefs and norms. You've heard about rock and roll is evil, rock and roll is satanic. Hippies are evil, hippies did all this, everything's the hippies' fault. Well, what if I told you that all of those beliefs that people hold, especially boomers and the greatest generation, those beliefs were inserted into your or their minds with these tools. They were inserted into their minds through talk shows, TV shows, radio, the news media, music, and more. So there's always a little bit of truth in things, and sometimes it can be hard to kind of shake out what exactly the truth was. But I think most people agree now that Vietnam was shameful abuse of power, and that many, many good young men lost their lives because of this manipulation. And, honestly, what war at this point can we not really say that about? Every war is an effort to strengthen certain families who make money off of the weapons, the trades, the stockbrokers, Wall Street, all of that stuff. These certain families just get wealthier and wealthier from this. So this really took hold of American culture around that time. It could not have taken hold without the things that came before it, right? Could not have taken hold without the Rothschilds initiating international banking. Could not have taken hold without the integration of Knights Templar and the Masons and the royal lineages becoming involved in world power. It could not have taken place without the establishment of the Diamond District in New York, or the overthrow of the Bolsheviks in Russia. Could not have taken place without the establishment of Hollywood and and then later the music industry. So all of this comes together to create a toolbox that is then used to manipulate minds, to plant seeds, to plant thoughts and beliefs that lead to actions, specifically actions of voting with your dollars and actions of voting at the polls, voting for wars, getting on board, getting the culture involved with it. Also harkens back to World War I, World War II, the establishment of the State of Israel, the partnership of the United States and Israel and other countries. So everything is intertwined. Everything that we have seen as isolated and separate and in their own silos, now that the veil is ripped, we see that it's all just one big woven tapestry, and that it has been woven by the few, by a few people. So when I talk about they, that's what I'm talking about. People who are intentionally making choices to manipulate the public at large, but also people who, they may not be the top level, they may not be the ones calling the shots or knowing the long game, but they are agreeing to be a part of the program. They're agreeing to be the actors, the musicians, they're agreeing to be the politicians, the soldiers. Now, again, not everyone, I'm not saying everyone who goes to sign up to serve their country, the United States or whatever, has the intention of doing evil. But there are certainly people who do seek that power and who do align with people who would choose to do evil. So we're going to anchor back to that and how the CIA and the FBI, law enforcement agencies across the country work together to manipulate minds regarding the hippie movement, regarding the Vietnam War, politics, and then even more, I'm telling you right now, Hollywood was corrupt from day one, and it was disgusting. If you read Hollywood Babylon, the original Hollywood Babylon, which you can only get on PDF now, if you read Hollywood Babylon, you will see that Hollywood was gross from day one. It was nasty and disgusting. There was no old glamorous, beautiful Hollywood. That's just a facade. It was always disgusting. There was always rape, incest, alcoholism, drugs, pedophilia, always. But it just really took hold in the 60s, along with pop music, cultural influence through music, and this weaves into race riots, race division, ethnic division, and now today we still have all of that, but now we see more religious division, right? Oh, hate the Jews, be anti-Semitic. Oh, hate the Muslims, they're all jihadists. It's grouping entire religions into the dangerous extreme, okay? Because, I mean, I have bad news for you. There are bad Christians. There are people who proclaim to be Christians who are not really Christians, who do really bad things. And they hide it, and they get other people to do it too. And guess what? There are also Jewish people who do that, and Muslim people, and probably any sort of religion that you could come up with, probably there is corruption within that religion. But what happens is when we say we're going to group all of them together and we're going to hate them as a mass, then that heats up the public. It's us versus them. And so now we see all this like, oh, wait, you're anti-Semitic. No, you're anti-Semitic. No, I think this. No, I think that. And at the end of the day, we usually find out that we're all just trying to figure out who are the good guys, who are the moral, ethical, spiritually grounded, wholesome people, and who are the bad guys, who are the people who are just out for the greed and the money, who are the people who will sit by and watch atrocities and genocides as entertainment, who are the people who are willing to profit off of our young men and women going to war and dying. Who are those people? Who are the evil people? And they are rampant right now. This show is not about that. It's about It is about your beliefs and how you've been brought to believe certain things. And so by being raised in certain religious, cultural, tradition, different backgrounds, being exposed to different family traumas and experiences, you already have foundational beliefs that then these cultural beliefs through MK Ultra, through Hollywood, through pop music, how those can push repetitive archetypes of hypermaterialism, addiction, self-destruction, normalizing hatred and war and genocide when it's for the right people, right? And we see this more and more being now pushed to our children. And I think that these people in leadership in these industries are really fretting a little bit because Gen Z is not about it. They're not about letting those people have their children, right? They're monitoring screen time. They're monitoring what their kids watch. They're evaluating what their kids see. They're going back to old time. They're watching John Deere tractors on YouTube and watching people farm, shows like mine that aren't AI, that are actually just a real person sharing their thoughts or sharing what they know or sharing their gifts. This is what it's all about, because we are the real deal. And we are not selling you out to and, willing to destroy humanity for our own good. So it's coming back to everyday people. But be sure, it is a battle for the playground. And it is a battle for children's minds and their dollars. It's for their choices and their actions. There is mass manipulation and hypnosis and gaslighting going on to further impregnate our children's minds with corruption, right? And if they can do that before the children are 7, they have exponential power. But even today, I have made a choice I don't go to the movies. I don't watch television. I'm not binge watching anything. I might catch a documentary here and there on a rare occasion. I was talking to someone yesterday and we were talking about, we couldn't even remember the last time we'd been to the movie. And then we came to the realization, it might've been 10 years ago when we met up in Ohio. Like when we had a get together 10 years ago, it might've been the last time both of us were at the movie and everyone went to the movie. So you can make choices that impact your own mind, your own beliefs, and you can ask yourself, how am I getting triggered here? Why am I getting triggered here? What does this mean? Why am I taking sides? There's so many examples to mention. Just over the past couple of years, we've seen the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trials, the Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively trials. Make no mistake, while there may have been truth and reality to those litigation cases, the media manipulation and airing of those things was very intentional. The messaging behind that, just depending on which side you were on or both, was often very intentional to work into your programming and your belief systems, right? To get you to believe certain things. And this is a wonderful opportunity for you to be like, where are my triggers? Just last year, we saw the assassination of Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA. To be honest with you, when I entered into kind of my spiritual journey realm about 14 years ago, I left politics. I had been active in politics since I was in college. I have, ancestry of presidents in my family lineage. I have, what was I going to say next? Oh, I have several family members, recently who held political office. And that was just something that was sort of normalized in my life. And I was very politically active. I did phone calling in college. I was the vice president of a political committee here in my county for a couple of years. I was in leadership training with women of my party in Richmond. I was very, very immersed, not just going to the polls, but very immersed.